Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic for reactive form, where we will see how to perform validation with the reactive form. Okay, so in previous session we talked like how to create a basic form array and how to add value to the existing form array, removing the values, right? But at the time of inserting or adding the new value, how we will perform the validation? This is very important question, right? So in this session, by the end of this session, you will be able to answer this question, like how to perform validation for the form array. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to create form array with validation. So here you can see we have one main heading that shows Angular codes by Sharmit. Secondary heading shows reactive form in Angular form array with validation. Now in between these two horizontal rows we will define the entire form. But prior to that, let's try to understand the requirement, and according to the requirement we will define the fields. So requirement is very simple. We want to create one button where user can add the skill, and one button like once we add the skill, if it is blank, it should show one message that this field is required. Okay, alright, so let's go to app.component.ts file to define the prerequisites. And here I will firstly write a reactive forms module, then a comma, and another thing I need is ng for, and then I need ng if, also I need a JSON pipe. So these are the things that I will be using for my demo. Now here we will define the first variable, you can say. So you can simply write here user form then we will mention here method name, that is get firstly, like we can mention the group now. So firstly we will define here constructor where I'll mention private fb, then we will mention form builder, opening closing curly braces, this dot user form equal this dot fb dot group, opening closing parenthesis, opening closing curly braces, expand. Here I will write this dot user form equal this dot fb dot group. No, here we will mention the skills. So skills this dot fb dot array. Okay, then opening closing parenthesis and a blank array. Okay, fine. Now after this we will put a semicolon over here, and after that, after the after the constructor bracket, you will define the methods. Okay, so we will write here get skills, opening closing parenthesis, curly braces. Here I will mention return this dot user form dot get, then we will mention here skills as form array semicolon. Okay, then after this we will mention one method for add skill. So I'll just simply write add skill, opening closing curly braces, this dot skills dot push this dot fb dot control, and here I will mention blank. Now at the same time, when you are adding the skills through this method, we will add the validators, and it should be imported. Okay, don't forget to import it. It is automatically imported because I press enter, you can see, but it should be there. Okay, otherwise it won't work. Then a dot, and then I will write here required. Clear? then we will put a semicolon over. Now after this, what we will do, like if you want to go and define the required thing, that you can remove thing, that you can mention remove skill, but we have already covered that in previous session, so I'm not repeating it again just to save the time. I think here we have some issues. Let's see what we have. Get skills parenthesis return this dot user form dot get skills as form array. Conversion of type abstract null to type form array, maybe a mistake because neither the type sufficiently overlaps with other if the intention is convert. Okay, we will fix it later, no worries. So this thing is ready now. After this add skill, we will add one more method, that is for submit form. Submit form parenthesis curly braces, then we will write here if this dot user form dot invalid, and then curly braces this dot user form dot mark all is touched, opening closing parenthesis and semicolon, and then we will simply return from here. Okay, so this is for submit. Now after this, I think something is wrong here. We skipped this is for constructor. Maybe we can try to write it again. Not sure what is the issue, so we'll figure it out, no worries. This dot user form dot get semicolon skills, then as form array. Okay, now it is solved. Maybe some typo was there, but fine, now it is ready. So let's quickly go to app.component.html file where we will define the form and write the further logic. So here I will write the div, not div, firstly the form. So form, and then we will mention here form group user form, then we will write here ng submit opening closing method submit form, I think, yeah, submit form. Then we will define here div. Okay, then we will mention here star ng for, then we will mention let skill of skills dot controls let I equal index. Okay, and then one more thing we forget, it should be inside another div, and that div is for form array. So form array name is skills, then only it will identify, no? So we'll write here skills, and inside this we will put this div. So cut it from here, paste it here and save it. Fine, so this thing is ready, and like inside this div we will define one input field where we will mention form control name square bracket. Okay, then we will put here equal of I, then we'll put a placeholder, enter skill. Okay, then we can mention the validation part. So here after input field I'll add another div, this time for the error message. So ng if, we will mention star ng if, and here I'll just put simply skill, not skills, skill, because we have defined it. So skill dot invalid double ampersand skill dot touched, and then we will mention style as color red. Okay, and here I will show one message, skill is acquired. Perfect, so this thing is ready. Now what we will do, if you want to keep the remove, but we haven't added this remove part, so no worries, you can simply go out of this div, and here you can create one method, one button, not method, button to add skill. Then we will write here type as a button, click, add skill, okay, and should be a method, so parenthesis of course, and then second button for the submit form, okay. And here also I will mention type as submit. That's it, because method we have already defined in ng submit, so no need to specify it again here. Now you can save it and let's run the application. So ng serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will take few it will show you the output. So you can see we have main heading Angular course by TechSharmit, reactive form in Angular, FormArray.validation, FormArray with validation, one horizontal row, one button for add skill, and submit form. So moment when I click on add skill, it will come up with a blank, but when I submit form, it will show this message, skill is required. And how it is touched? Because here I have mentioned already this thing, okay, if it is invalid, okay. But the moment when you start typing something, it will removed. Why? Because it is just checking if anything is provided in the field, it won't show the error, otherwise it will show the error. Clear? So you can see it is added, but when I click submit, it is asking skill is required, okay, XYZ. If I add, and let's say if I provide the value in the first itself, PQR, and submit, it will not show any issue. Why? Because it has some value, so it should have some value. That's the only thing. And this is how like you can perform the other validation also if you want, for email fields, whatever the fields are there, according to the fields you can define the logic. Clear? But overall validation process would be the same. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching TechSharmit.